Basic definitions of a circle. A circle, by technical definition, is the set of all points that's equal distance or equidistance, to use a math term, from one point. So see, like this radius, and I'll get to that in a minute, I know we used a word. A radius comes from the center to on the circle itself. And to name it, well, first, since there's an A there, the point on the center, you can name that circle A, or literally a cute little circle with a dot in there. That's the way you see it most of the time. So if I put a B there, that's a radius, AB, BA, and remember you put a bar over it because that means it doesn't go on forever. It starts at A and stops at B. Now remember, it also doesn't matter when you're labeling segments which letter comes first, as long as you've got a bar over both of them. Then you have, what I was saying a minute ago. So if I have, like, let's say AC right here, that's also a radius. I could even go over here and say AD is also a radius. But notice how, if it goes from D through the center all the way to C, that's called the diameter. So DC or CD. Then there's something called a chord. A chord is just a line segment that ends on the circle. So technically, DC is a chord. It's the longest chord of the circle because notice how, if I have the diameter there, notice how if I did chords all the way across, that the chord lengths are getting smaller the farther away you are going from the center. Or you could say the reverse of that. The chords are getting longer until you get to the diameter, and then that's its peak, and then they go back and get smaller again. So DC, the diameter, is the longest chord. But there also, you could draw a chord like this and say EF. EF is a chord. Let me go back and put my bars, segments over there. So EF is a chord. You also have tangents and secants. Let me draw another circle. Let's say I did this. I'll just say PQR. Put a T there. PR, or technically, since you're labeling as a line, you can use any combination of those letters. You can say PQ with a line, you could say QR, you could even say PR. All those are labeling the same thing. Tangent comes from, I think it's Latin, the word tangere, which means to touch. And so literally it touches the circle in one point. And we're going to do a lot with tangents later on in the series. Q, just to give you a heads up, is called a point of tangency. So if you draw the radius to the point of tangency, just to give you a heads up, it is always perpendicular or a right angle. But like I said, that's for a few lessons along. And we're just naming pieces today. And secant, the last. A secant is a line that cuts through the circle. So let's say I did E. Well, I've already done a P2. We'll say EW. Sorry about that. So if I wanted to label the secant EW, with a line over it. So a secant is a line that cuts through the circle in 2 points. A tangent touches the circle at 1 point. Technically, a tangent, since you could have a segment tangent, those could be bars, especially the PR. But secants, no matter what, have to have the line because by definition they are a line that cuts through a circle. The only other thing for today is an arc. An arc is a part of the circle itself. A major arc is when it's the angle or the arc is greater than 180 degrees. A minor arc is when it's less than 180 degrees. And that's also for another day. But if you just wanted to say, we're just labeling today, this part of the circle, the way you write it, it's still 2 letters. Doesn't matter if it's AQ or QA, but you put the arc symbol over it, which literally looks like an arc. And like I said, we'll get into more of major and minor arcs when we do central arcs in a couple lessons down the road. But as far as basic definitions, there you go, and hope it was of help to you.